Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Thursday, October 4th, 2018. I'm Fredicia Liebert. Two bills were introduced when the Nevis Island Assembly sat in chambers at Hamilton House today, Thursday, October 4th, 2018. The sitting began with the formal entry of the President of the Assembly, Honorable Farrell Smithen, followed by prayers, a motion for the approval of the order paper as circulated, announcements by the President, papers to be laid, statements by ministers, personal explanations, and the introduction of the bills and first reading.
Mr. President, I rise again to introduce and have read for the first time in this Honorable House the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency Amendment Bill 2018.
Mr. President, I rise to second motion.
Is that the bill shortly entitled the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency Amendment 2018 Bill be read the first time. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Bill to amend the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency Ordinance, Chapter 6.12, N bracket, and for matters related thereto, are connected therewith.
Mr. President, I rise once again to and seek leave to introduce and have read for the first time the Nevis Physical Planning and Development Control Amendment Bill 2018.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion.
Is that the bill shortly entitled Nevis Physical Planning and Development Control Amendment Bill 2018 be read the first time. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
A bill to amend the Nevis Physical Planning and Development Control Ordinance, Chapter 6.09, N bracket, and for matters related thereto, are connected therewith.
Today's sitting was the fourth since the Nevis Island Assembly's first sitting in January 2018. On Wednesday evening, there was an explosion at the dormitory of the Medical University of the Americas where two students were injured.
Two students have been badly injured in that explosion. I myself was at the hospital late last night and observed the hospital staff trying to stabilize both of those two students. I've also been advised that one of the students was taken by air ambulance somewhere around 2 o'clock this morning and taken to the United States for additional care. The other student is still with us here and receiving care at our hospital until that student too can be medevaced to the United States.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, speaking at today's sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly at Hamilton House. Premier Brantley also stated that the students are American citizens ages 28 and 31, and both were in their final stages of studies at the Medical University.
Naturally, we are concerned. The MUA is a significant employer and a significant contributor to Nevis, and we are certainly concerned about what happens there and concerned about the welfare of the students at this time. We are uncertain at this stage as to the cause of the explosion, but I believe that the relevant authorities have the situation well in hand and are undertaking the necessary investigation. We will continue to work very closely with the authorities and with the Medical University of the Americas to ensure that the safety and security of their students continues to be preserved. I will ask the House, of course, and the public to pray for these two students who are clearly in some distress, and we trust and hope and pray that they both will be able to recover fully.
Meantime, Deputy Premier, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, joined with Premier Brantley to convey his support to the students who were injured.
As the representative of St. James, and that's Nevis 4, I was on the scene last night and I really was distraught by what I saw. It's an unfortunate accident that would have occurred. And of course, I want to wish a speedy recovery, albeit it will be a difficult road ahead for the two persons who were involved in that particular incident. And of course, you have heard the pledge from the Premier and member for Nevis 2 of the support of the Nevis Island administration in every possible way to ensure that this process is handled in a way that is, good enough for the persons who would have a really difficult road upon which to recover. Such is life, Mr. President. Life can be fleeting and things happen. And that, as I said, was an unfortunate one. But we continue to pray for their recovery, of course. But I still want to commend the officers or the essential personnel who came, because all of them came quickly. And of course, they would have performed their duties to a standard that we can certainly be proud of.
Deputy Premier and Area Representative for St. James Parish, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. Still to come.
Tomorrow will be a great day on the island of Nevis, Mr. President. That will be the day when...
The details after this break.
As a fisherman, I use the marine resource wisely so I can conserve our biodiversity. So I can fish for life. It's all about balance.
I preserve biodiversity by the way that I farm. It takes care of my family. It's all about balance.
I have enjoyed these seas all my life. I do my best to conserve our biodiversity because I want my children and my grandchildren to enjoy them as much as I do. It's all about balance.
I'm a park ranger, and my job is to properly manage our protected areas and conserve our biodiversity. It's all about balance.
Youth, let's play a part in conserving our biodiversity and maintaining our natural resources. It's all about balance.
For life, for livelihood, for the future of St. Kitts and Nevis, let's all conserve our biodiversity and use our natural resources wisely. It's all about balance.
Welcome back. The Nevis Island Administration will acquire the wells from Bedrock Exploration and Development Technologies BEAD in a brief handing over ceremony on Friday, October 5th, 2018.
Tomorrow will be a great day on the island of Nevis, Mr. President. That will be the day when the people of Nevis will once again take ownership of their wells from BEAD. And that, for me, Mr. President, will be an occasion that all Nevis and all Nevisians should look forward to. It is, for me, Mr. President, almost declaring our independence once again. And I want to place on record here in this House how grateful we are to BEAD for the input that they would have made in the development of this country. And, Mr. President, I will say more about that tomorrow, but I just want to say to the people of Nevis that come tomorrow, once again, they will take ownership of all of the water on the island of Nevis.
Minister of Water Services in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Spencer Brand, speaking earlier today at the sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly at Hamilton House. A number of building contractors and architects are this week benefiting from a seminar which is aimed at improving practices for the construction of houses. The October 1st to 5th seminar, funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and the Nevis Island Administration, is being facilitated by the Department of Physical Planning.
In the Caribbean, a large percentage of the houses in some islands are built in the informal building sector. The consequences of such practice were brought forth in 2017 when Hurricane Irma and Maria caused catastrophic damage in many of the small islands. Against this backdrop, and given the annual exposure to potential adverse impact of hurricanes on the housing sector and other built infrastructure in the region, Caribbean Development Bank, through the in approving practice for the construction of houses, targeting building inspectors, in which 2 of our building inspectors took part, namely Filson Joseph and Will Sargent. The objective of this workshop is to improve the resilience of houses in Nevis to hurricane and similar events, hereby reducing adverse social economic impact, especially as it relates to the loss of life and property.
Building inspectors Filson Joseph and Will Sargent are the workshop's facilitators. Minister of Physical Planning, the Honorable Spencer Brand, who also addressed the opening ceremony, described the initiative as critical.
I am hoping that the knowledge acquired here over the next few days will inspire all of you to take your role as architect or draft persons and builders more seriously, to become more efficient, more innovative, and more accountable. I encourage all who are involved in this sector to comply with the requirements and the guidance of our planning department. Look at them as your friend, your partner, and your advisor. I am expecting that this training will result in the saving of lives. I am also expecting that this training will bring huge savings to property owners, businesses, and the country at large in time to come, thereby reducing the adverse social and economic impacts on our island after a hurricane.
Permanent Secretary Dr. Ernie Stapleton, who chaired the ceremony, highlighted the stakeholders in the process.
1, the Caribbean Development Bank, who is the sponsor for this training seminar, and who also provided technical assistance in training our facilitators. 2, the Nevis Island Administration through the Ministry and Department of Physical Planning and Environment, as we are the agency that formulate and implement policies and programs. We are the agencies that also enforce the laws, the regulations, and the building codes. 3, the contractors and professionals in the construction or housing industry, the actual doers in the housing industry. 4, the financial services sector, the banking sector, the insurance companies, etc. And they would have an interest in the outcome of this important workshop. And last but not least, and the most important stakeholder, is the residents and people of Nevis, who will invest their financial resources to have a comfortable and safe home and building in which to live and work.
Other remarks were made by Senior Building Inspector Marvin Hanley, who noted that the seminars conducted in each island could pave the way for the accreditation of contractors, which would allow them to work in any of the OECS countries. That's how we end this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Liebert. Thank you for viewing.